Okay, violence and gun control. These are some topics that we're being bombarded with again. I'm going to use the term mindless violence to describe in the past 3 weeks or so the incidents that happened, because if I use the terminology that is in the headlines, okay, uh, they censor these videos and will pick up on it, and I'll probably get in trouble. So we're just going to call it mindless violence. And then the gun control rhetoric on there. So again, we're getting bombarded because they're trying to pass legislation. They're trying to bring back the assault rifle ban and all this other stuff. And we're getting bombarded with this. And it's unfortunate that these things happen, okay? Like, say my wife sends me to the grocery store to go pick up a few items. I really don't want to be there when someone decides to just start shooting the place up. And concealed carry or defending myself, I don't want to get into a gun battle in the middle of a grocery store, in the parking lot or in the store or anything else, or any store for that matter. And the fact that people carry out attacks, this is the second major attack we've had in a grade school, okay? When you look at, another thing is nobody addresses the cause. It just splashed against the headlines. Nobody looks into the individuals, okay, into their family background and does an in-depth exposure of these people. Then tries to go back and see what led up to this, okay? And the reason this is not done is because the powers to be need this to happen. Okay, they're using this horrible situation as a tool to further the agenda of global world government. Okay, and that all revolves around totally disarming your populace. If you look at all the countries that have done that, Australia, Brazil, there are numerous countries that if this populace is not disarmed, I know in the UK they've gotten to the point where you couldn't own a handgun. And now that's coming to Canada, is putting some more restrictions, and again it's all on handguns. Okay, we're not talking military style rifles or anything like this. It's handguns. They want to limit the fact they don't believe its citizens should own a handgun. Now, to do this, it's key in getting control, okay? Now, does it stop the mass shootings, or I use that term? Does it stop the mindless violence? Well, no, it doesn't, okay? And actually, in the United States, after the past 10 years of gun sales, and just about everyone in this country is armed, or there are so many guns out in civilian hands, it's ridiculous to even try to start to have gun control legislature. Okay? It's a waste of time and money because there's so much out there, and people will not turn the weapons in. Okay? See, this is another thing, and that's why none of these laws are really passed, because they won't have any effect, okay, in reality. And this is a major problem for the people who wish to control the world. The United States, the Constitution, and that, as long as the United States exists and our laws and the foundation of our laws are still present, okay, there will not be a world government. The United States stands in the way, just how we are, of globalization and a world government. And they're trying to do everything to eliminate this country, eliminate our culture, and get it out of the way, okay? And gun control is one step in there, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. But we found out that even when you have peaceful, non-violent protests, okay, governments have a way of going, and again, technology and all this, it's all connected. They just freeze your bank accounts, declare you a terrorist, freeze your bank accounts, and you know, how many of us have enough cash on hand to live out the rest of our lives, to where, you know, if your bank account was frozen and your checking account and your credit cards and everything were digitally erased or frozen, how would you carry on realistically? You know, because my wife's saying, oh, they can do this, they can do that. I said, yeah, but do we have enough cash on hand here in the house that we could say we don't need the banks, we don't need debit credit cards, or we don't need a checking account? We can just go on and pay for everything in cash and try doing that. Even if you had the cash, you can't pay people. They won't accept it. I remember the dealership during the health crisis. They told you it's either a debit card or a credit card, no checks, no cash, nothing that you handle that the employees have to touch. But getting off topic here, but as you see, it's all key in this. The gun control thing is something that they're pushing, and even today, every day I turn the computer on, okay? And I don't watch the mainstream news. It just pops up my Yahoo email address. The headlines pop up. Today it was some guy murdered a bunch of people somewhere and took their car or something. And the day before, it was another, mindless violence incident where a number of people, suffered a fatality over it. And it just goes on, and you're constantly bombarded with it. And I'm not watching the mainstream news. It still filters through on the internet. And, the government we have or whatever's going on, which, you call it a government, they're doing everything, pushing and doing this. And it is against the will of the people, because people are frightened. Okay, granted, there are some people that all of this really disturbs them. And like I said, you really don't need to fear going to the store and being involved in things like this. Okay, that's wrong. Sending your children to school, the fear that goes on with this is ungodly. And it's a sad thing to say that the United States of America has regressed or fallen into this. And yes, I know there's all kinds of reasons and a lot of things going on, but the people who run things want this to go on. It is a tool for them to gain more power. And this is the problem that we all face. And really, it's part of this ongoing war. It's another offensive or tool they use against all of us. Well, that's my thoughts on it. Several people have asked. Tried to make this video. Tried not to ramble much, but like I tell you, you can't focus on the one thing. It's all connected together in a mass of this trying to gain control of everything that goes on in an average person's life. Okay, and it is kind of scary. All right, guys, that's it for today. Stay tuned.